The first time Mia saw him, the city was alive in a way that made her heart race. New York pulsed beneath her feet, subway rumbling below, yellow taxis honking in the distance, neon signs flickering against the rising dusk. She had moved here only 6 months ago, clutching a dream of becoming a professional dancer, but the city had yet to feel like hers. It was beautiful, yes, breathtaking even, but also loud, overwhelming, and indifferent to the girl slipping quietly between its crowds. That night, after leaving her shift at the cafe, she wandered through Times Square, letting herself pretend the lights were meant for her. People rushed past, cameras flashed, and the screens above her seemed to shout for attention. Amid the chaos, her gaze snagged on a young man leaning against a street pole, sketchbook in hand, drawing like the world wasn't exploding around him. His hair was messy in an intentional way, dark curls falling over his brow, and he wore a paint-stained jacket that suggested a life lived in creativity. Mia didn't intend to stare, but something about the quiet focus on his face drew her in. Artists fascinated her. They held the world differently, softer and sharper all at once. When he looked up, she panicked and pretended to adjust her bag. But he didn't look away. His eyes met hers, steady, curious, warm. He smiled first. Not the quick, awkward kind most strangers offer, but a slow, thoughtful one, as if he recognized her, even though they had never met. She walked away before she could embarrass herself, but she felt his gaze lingering like a soft hand against her back. 4 days after, she replayed the moment in her mind. It was ridiculous, she told herself. New York didn't give love stories easily, and she had no space for romance when she was barely surviving on tips and cheap instant noodles. But fate has its own rhythm, and 1 week later, the city brought him to her again. This time, she saw him on the subway. The train screeched, the doors opened, and he stepped inside, sketchbook tucked under his arm. Mia froze. Was she supposed to say something? Pretend she didn't notice? But as he scanned the car, his eyes landed on her immediately, and recognition lit his face like sunrise. He walked over, steady and sure. "We keep crossing paths," he said, voice gentle beneath the roar of the train. Mia's heart thudded. "New York's big," she replied. "Doesn't feel like coincidence." "I'm Adrian." He offered a hand. She noticed faint flecks of blue paint around his fingernails. "Mia." His smile widened. "Beautiful name." They talked the entire ride, and it felt astonishingly natural, like their conversation had begun long before she boarded the train. Adrian was an aspiring mural artist, painting New York's forgotten walls with color and meaning. She told him about dance, about how movements felt like breathing, about how she feared she wasn't good enough for the city's unforgiving standards. He listened like every word mattered. When the train screeched to her stop, she hesitated, unwilling to end the moment. Adrian tore a small page from his sketchbook, revealing a quick drawing, Mia under neon lights, hair blowing behind her, expression soft and open. It was her, captured in the exact moment she had watched him in Times Square. "For you," he said. "In case we don't run into each other again." But they did. Again and again. They met for coffee after her shifts, explored hidden corners of the city, and shared late-night walks through the glowing streets where their shadows stretched long under street lamps. New York began to feel smaller, more intimate, as if its endless lights existed to illuminate their path rather than swallow them whole. For the first time since she moved, Mia felt seen, really seen. Adrian didn't look at her like a failing dancer or a struggling barista. He looked at her like she was a poem he hadn't finished reading. Their connection deepened slowly, naturally, like a melody settling into harmony. One evening, Mia invited him to one of her practice sessions. The studio was small, mirrors scratched and floorboards worn, but Adrian watched her as if she were on the grandest stage in the world. She danced through a routine she'd been working on for weeks, fluid movements, sharp turns, each step a confession of fear, hope, and determination. When she finished, breathing hard, she found him staring at her with something soft and intense in his eyes. "You're brilliant," he said. "The city just hasn't caught up to you yet." No one had ever said that to her. Not like that. And in that moment, something in her chest unfolded, delicate as a flower opening to light. As autumn deepened, their nights together grew longer. They talked about dreams, failures, the pressure of trying to matter in a city overflowing with talent. Adrian revealed that he had once been rejected by every major art program he applied to. Mia admitted that she sometimes cried in her tiny apartment when auditions fell apart. They held each other through the imperfections, the rawness, the doubt. But the city doesn't gift love without testing it. One chilly November night, Mia came home to an email that shattered her. The dance company she dreamed of joining rejected her audition video. She sat on the floor, trembling, grief washing over her like cold rain. When Adrian knocked on her door later that night, she didn't answer. She couldn't let him see her falling apart. The next morning, she found a note slid under her door. "Mia, you don't have to be strong alone." She realized then that she wasn't afraid of failure. She was afraid of being loved despite it. She went to find him. She searched the city, following hints he had left in their conversations. His favorite rooftop, the alley where he painted his first mural, the riverside bench where they shared hot chocolate at midnight. Finally, she found him in Brooklyn, working on a wall covered in swirling green and white paint. The mural was breathtaking. At the center stood a dancer, mid-spin, her silhouette luminous beneath painted city lights. It was her. Mia approached slowly, heart pounding. Adrian turned when he sensed her behind him, surprise melting into tenderness. "You painted me," she whispered. He stepped closer, eyes warm. "I painted what inspires me." "I pushed you away," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't want you to see me broken." "Mia," he murmured, brushing a tear from her cheek. "I want to see all of you. The light and the dark. You're not broken. You're human." The city hummed around them, distant horns, soft wind, the glow of street lamps casting halos over the pavement. In the quiet space between them, a truth unfolded. She loved him. Before she could speak, Adrian cupped her face and kissed her. It wasn't dramatic or urgent. It was gentle, steady, like finding home after months of wandering. The lights above them shimmered, turning the moment into something sacred. When they finally pulled apart, breath mingling, Mia felt the world settle into place. Love, she realized, wasn't found in perfection or success. It lived in the spaces between city lights, in unexpected meetings, in second chances, and in the softness of someone choosing you even when you falter. Adrian took her hand. "Whatever happens," he said, "we face it together." And beneath the lights of the city that once felt too big for her, Mia finally believed she belonged, not because the city accepted her, but because she had found someone who made every crowded street feel